Hi, everyone, and welcome to our live show, Parenting PDA Your Way. I'm the host of the show, Casey Ehrlich, and I have two PDA sons, 10 and 6, and I'm the founder of At Peace Parents. So every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to be meeting with a parent who is stuck on a specific challenge, and I am going to be meeting them exactly where they are, identifying where they're getting stuck, and helping them to apply one of the skills that we teach at Peace Parents. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce the mom of a PDA son. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Casey? Nice to meet you.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was a little better until I got a call from the school that my son is home with pink eye now, so I thought I was alone in the home.
Oh,
So if you
no.
hear a little like this on the door, just continue on.
Yeah, no, we're a live show. Like,
Yeah,
he,
exactly.
if he joins, we will roll with it.
Dad is standing by with Hershey Kisses and iPhones for distraction.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for submitting your question.
Sure.
Um, would you like me to read your question or do you want to state your question?
That would be great. You could read it as I send it, and then I could always add on if you want.
Awesome. Okay. Going to the same neighborhood friend's home day after day. And if they say they are busy or have a friend over, my son will stalk the home, walk the dog in front of their house, swings to try and see over the fence, plays piano in the yard. Despite offering to go to a jump place or doing painting with mom, he gets fixated on needing to go to their homes. Even every time we come home from the supermarket or a trip, the first thing is to go to the neighbor's house. If I don't allow, the aggression and words begin. Do you want me to read the PS?
Sure, you can read the PS.
P.S. In regards to the topic above, he even wrote a note once and folded it into a paper airplane to throw over the neighbor's fence and addressed it to the mom. Hi, can I please play with your kids today? It worked. She let him come over. He's crafty, smart, humorous, and I do believe Garfield and Curious George might have had PDA.
I do. If anybody can diagnose and cure Garfield and Curious George, then they will figure out my son as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, basically, I'll give you a little bit of background history. So, as a little guy, no problems as a baby, sweetest, cutest baby. As soon as he could walk, he was running. So he was always this, that, never like, even if he was watching a TV show, constantly on the move. So
Yeah.
we knew something was up. He was diagnosed very early at about age 4 with ADHD. And I started the journey of reading and learning everything about executive functioning and all of that. At the same time, though, he was so young, but I really felt like a lot of the things I was struggling with weren't the normal. So, for example, if we were driving home from preschool, if I didn't drive down the same block or the same route, he would become so dysregulated. Or if we were, um, taking a different path to somewhere else. So it just always felt to me more than ADHD. But he's so social, he can fit in. He was in with the gen ed kids, with the gen ed classes, with the gen ed camps, and all of that. So the thing is, when he meets neighbors or friends or any, there is no thought to them that there is anything more than him just being, he's 9 now, so just
Mhm.
being a 9-year-old little boy. And when things don't go right, then people are always thinking it's in the behavior camp, you know?
Yeah.
So the challenge that we're really seeing now is because he is so social, he is so friendly. I mean, we go to a PTA event and he'll buy the dollar chips and give the girl $2. And she's like, "You gave me $2." He's like, "Keep the dollar for change. It's a tip for you." Like
Yeah.
that's how socially geared he is and the energy level. But the problem we're having is when it comes to the neighborhood kids and the neighborhood houses, he wants to hit them like 400 times a day.
Yeah.
So it's if we go on a 2.5 hour car trip, we come home, he's out of the car before we're even in the house, wanting to go to the next door neighbors. If we go, and because he is nonstop and always on the go for that next dopamine hit, we can go to the food store, then we can go to the jump place, then we can go to lunch. Um, and we come home, and as parents, we're just exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready to get in the house, we're done, and before we even get out of the car, I'm bored, I'm gonna go next door, and I think a lot of the problem becomes too, on one level, because I am exhausted, I'm like, "Have at it," "Go next door,"
Yeah. Yeah.
because I wanna do the dishwasher, I wanna drop the bags on the table. And I would be fine to be like, all right, go play for 10 minutes. But still being 9 years old, somebody really should be watching him.
Mhm.
Um, so, did he put on his helmet? Did he put on his shoes? Um, when he wants to go, if he has the thought, he's just off. And I want to know, well, what neighbor's house are you hitting? Where are you going? And we've had some neighbors like, oh, please tell Thomas not to touch my Mickey Mouse, or not to touch my lawn ornaments, or because he really will kind of get cringy and be looking in every window, and despite us saying, "Hey, you knock or ring the bell, count to 20, and if somebody doesn't answer the door, either they don't wanna come or they're not home, and then you move on. You don't wait there." So we try to teach social norms, and we've tried to get into how to do it, or even that it is cringy, and sometimes people just want to play with a different friend today and not always the same friend, or maybe they have family over. um, but he doesn't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna go see if they're home. It's okay. I'll be right back. But Thomas, we're gonna eat soon. I was trying to keep the name, but that's okay.
All good. All
We're gonna eat soon, or this or that. And I'll be 5 minutes, always with the excuse. So trying to calm, trying to get him to understand that we come in after activities, we maybe take a break. He wants none of it. And so we're really struggling with this, how to have him understand that it's really not socially acceptable to ring a neighbor's bell 6 times
Yeah.
a day. He is an only child. He is super social. But he has a lot of activities. But when other people are filling it with a downtime for a minute, and we offer the screen, we offer the, why don't you come in and play piano? Why don't you? And he's such an extrovert and just wants out.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds similar to my older son, Cooper. Um, okay, so let's break this down into digestible bits
Okay.
so that we can try and get some clarity together.
Okay.
So, this is my perspective on how I understand the dopamine seeking and the sort of ADHD like behaviors that aren't quite the same as ADHD,
Right.
right? And also this confusion around social skills because he is so adept at understanding social communication and interacting
Right.
in a lot of ways, right? So the first piece is he is seeking safety through dopamine to distract from this underlying perception of threat that's there all the time for
Mm,
most of our PDA children, especially if we have the accumulation over
mm,
time, right? So there are 4 states that are regulating to a PDA-er.
mm.
Another safe nervous system is gonna be the top no matter what.
Right.
Another safe nervous system.
Yeah.
And it's not the same as, like, attachment or attention or clinginess, where it's like you can give them 2 hours of your undivided and then they're sort of filled to the brim
Right.
and they can go off and do something else. It's more, I have a nervous system disability. My brain is constantly perceiving threat. I feel physical discomfort in my body. all the time, and one of the only things that distracts from that is the dopamine seeking, the safe nervous system, the dopamine seeking, sensory intense experience, novelty, a special interest,
Mhm.
and or a screen, or for older PDAers who weren't born in our digital age, that might be like journaling or podcasts or books.
Mhm.
So for him, it sounds like he has a triple whammy kind of with the neighbors, where
Mhm.
it's like they're novel, so there's like dopamine and
Yes.
excitement. It sounds like my older son, his special interest is other kids.
Mhm.
And then third, they probably represent a safe nervous system.
Right.
So you have like 3 out of the
Yeah.
4 things going on, which is gonna just be driving him to want to be with them,
Engage. Yeah.
right? So that's the awareness piece. So let me just pause there and ask you if that feels accurate to you.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the homes have more than one kid in them. They often have friends, they have toys. So yeah, there's usually always something novel there. And because they are familiar, he's always asking me, are they a stranger? Are they a safe? And I'm always like, no, they're, because I know the parents well and everything. So I do think there's the safety and also, the novelty factor. So yeah, very on par.
Okay, great. So the next piece of awareness we want to remind ourselves of, and I have to remind myself of this too because it can appear counterintuitive or like hard to believe because our kids are competent in a lot of ways. So often we're thinking about trying to teach our kids skills, our PDA children and teens skills, so that they won't do the thing that is embarrassing them or us or causing challenges in the neighborhood. Um, and we want them to be successful. So we focus on rational explanations or trying to teach the skills, right? That's like the conventional wisdom.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing that, but I always think of our PDA children of not necessarily lacking the skill,
Mhm.
but not being able to access the skill because of the part of their brain that they're in.
Right.
So he might fully understand social norms, but as soon as he's not got one of those 4 things to regulate him, like when you need a break to put the
Right.
groceries away, he's gonna be in his survival brain where he's not accessing the rational understanding of social norms that he knows that you taught him,
Mm.
right? And so even if you're teaching in regulated moments or even if he can agree like, "Yeah, I will leave after 20 seconds," you might still see the behavior, like, stubbornly
Right.
playing out.
I just had an aha moment when you're talking because I always think of the survival brain as he's having a full meltdown, he's
Mm,
on the floor, he's upset, but I don't always think of the survival brain as just it could just be him, like that flutter when we call him like a butterfly, or he's just like can't land on something. He wants to do this, he wants to do that, he wants to um I'm thinking now that often that might be him and his survival brain, not his thinking, calm, rational brain. I'm always waiting for the on the floor, what we call alligator rolls or whatever,
yeah.
that to see it that he's struggling. Um, but it might be, before that, just his regular state.
Yeah, and so I had this confusion too when my older PDA son was younger because he was exactly as you're explaining of, like, he literally did not stop moving. There were 2 speeds. He's either, like, bouncing off the walls or he's asleep,
Yes.
and, like, there's no in
Right,
between,
right.
truly,
Yeah.
and, you know, one of the things that I saw over time as we, like, really started to understand PDA and really focus on autonomy and equality and lowering demands and making different decisions what I thought was hyperactivity was actually more fight flight,
Mm,
right? That manic movement constantly in motion. And it's not to say it's gone. Like he's
right.
still like, if he's not in one of those states,
Yeah.
he's needing that one-on-one attention, but he has found special interests that he can engage in more on his own, like
Right.
writing up football plays or watching plays of football on YouTube, stuff like that. So I love that insight because I think one of the big ways we can shift our thinking as parents is simplifying of like they're either fully in safe and social and in this part of the brain
Yeah.
or they're not, right? And they don't have to be in a full-blown meltdown. So when the brain perceives threat, it perceives 3 states essentially: safety, danger,
Mhm.
and life threat, right? So when we see them in these like huge meltdowns or full-on shutdowns or when they're fighting us, that's when their brain's perceiving life threat.
Mm,
But they are perceiving danger almost all of the time if we're not actively working to support and accommodate their safety.
mm.
And this is why I consider it a nervous system disability,
Right.
because over time and accumulation without accommodations, it does start to disable them from accessing the things they need and want and basic needs.
And that's why he actually has a one-to-one at school, and I used to think that the one-to-one was helping him to manage the academics. Now I realize that the reason why the one-to-one is helping is really because he's sharing that nervous system, and that is safety for him, and it's like having that buddy, that safe, secure energy with him all of the time,
Yeah.
and it's been eye-opening for me. I mean, honestly, before I found all of your videos and everything I looked at was a different, if he cursed me or did something like that, I was like, "Ew, you're so rude," or what's wrong with you? Why are you upset?" Or whatever. And now when I look at it as equalizing, it's a completely different lens, and anyway, but I don't wanna take us
No,
off.
and relational experience, right? Where you're like, "Okay, this isn't personal,
Right,
and it's not how he actually feels."
right.
You
Exactly,
know,
exactly,
it's just data about his nerve.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Um, so now that we've, like, gone through the awareness piece, and I love that you had a aha moment, those are my
Yeah.
favorite, um, let's move into the, like, well, what the heck do we do
Right,
about
right, yeah.
it? So, there's 2 skills that I think we could apply here, and one of them is cost benefit decision making around boundaries, and the other is, making nonviolent communication requests or sort of advocacy and communication with your neighbors so that you feel more comfortable, as he moves throughout the neighborhood, if that's what we decide.
Right, yeah. I mean, the only thing I've done to date really, and I guess it depends on what neighbor you're talking about, because some I know better than others. I mean, some are old man in a house alone, and some
Yeah.
are friends that I see socially all the time. The only thing I've done so far is those houses with kids that I do sort of know. I have told them to please be very direct with him, that if he comes and today is not a good day, please be direct and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't play today. Actually, the rest of the week is going to be tough. Maybe next Saturday."
Yeah.
Because then he can detach from it and he can move on to other things. Because what happens when the nice neighbors, who, "Oh, I love him. He's so sweet. He's welcome in our house anytime. Oh, he could always ring the bell." Well, when they say things like, "She has a game and maybe we'll be back after dinner, or we'll see maybe around 6 o'clock," because I've asked him to be specific back and say, "Oh, so maybe later or like 6 o'clock," or something like that. I'm trying
Yeah.
to give him those skills. But I had a neighbor yesterday. She said, "Oh, tonight's not Good, he's busy right now, and he said, "Okay, I'll be back at 6 o'clock." So she's like, he has definitely, a career in sales.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the only thing I've done so far is to say, "Please be direct," because he will literally set the microwave and
yeah,
be waiting for 3 hours. He might play his iPad, but he won't wanna come to the store with me. He won't go to the park. He won't do anything else, and it's sad because sometimes then they decide to go out to dinner after a game. They don't come back at 6 o'clock.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like, it's better just to text me and say, "Okay, we're home if he wants to come over," than to say maybe later where everybody is trying to be nice, but it doesn't
yeah.
serve him at all.
Totally, totally. Okay, so it sounds like you've done some good communication. Um, let's hone in on the decision making then. I am going to bring up my decision making methodology
Okay,
and we can walk through it together.
okay,
Okay, so the basic premise of this is to refocus our attention away from trying to make him do something differently towards what's actually under our control.
okay.
Because as I'm sure you know intuitively at this point, the more we try and change the behavior of the PDA, or the more it backfires, or they fixate on doing the thing that you told them not to do.
Yes.
Especially with these externalizers. Some internalized PDAers, they might comply in the moment and then it comes out later in basic needs. But in this case, and you correct me, it's like you say don't do the thing and then we're going to double down on the thing, right?
Yeah. No, it's 100%. Like, he loves to cook and he's using all the ingredients. If I say, "Please don't use the ingredients," it's a problem, melted, then he'll use all the ingredients, but I said, "Oh, I'm getting a little bit worried because 'cause I'm having a party, and I'm getting a little worried I'm not gonna have any flour," or now every time he cooks, he says, "How many cups of flour do you need, mommy?" So I make sure I don't use all the because
Yeah.
it's him controlling and asking and not me taking away the thing
Yeah.
he wants to
Yeah.
play with. Totally different approach. So,
I
yes.
love it. I love it. Okay, let's start with your constraints. So those are the things that are not things that you can change in the present moment, like at the drop of a hat. So these would be, you know, I'm a single mom, or both my husband and I work outside of the home, or I have 3 kids, or we don't have any family nearby. Just anything that would shape our decision making.
Well, I mean, so it is just my husband and I that are really here. We don't have any local family. Everybody's out of state or at least 45 minutes away. So it's just our husband and I. We do a lot of things together as a three family. So
Hmm.
I feel like it can a constraint be exhaustion, just like after half of a day, we're both exhausted. We're not after the big jump place and the this, and we wanna just come in and decompress, and somebody's gonna have to go trail him on a bicycle or to the neighbors if he wants to go. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah,
energy.
no, that's a good constraint to name because there isn't another potential focus inside the home of social interaction,
Right.
another child. Do you so you mentioned, like, trailing on a bike, so, like, another constraint would be, like, my husband recently had back surgery and he can't go on a bike, so it's only me, or just anything that would constrain our options of what's under your control.
I mean, working sometimes, so he comes home from school, and he's
Mhm.
ready to always go out, and we still might be working. So that's relevant more for my husband than I right now because I have flexibility.
Okay, mom has flexibility. Okay, and then do you have any other source of childcare or support outside of
Um,
you and dad?
I mean, we could call babysitters, but no, besides for me, like scheduling time or scheduling a play date or scheduling a sitter, but this is a every single day, every hour of our lives issue.
Yeah.
But, I do try and schedule, and I do my best to keep him filled with occupied with sports and stuff like that, but it's just always the go-to.
Okay. Great. So, just so I understand fully, would there be a financial constraint to exploring the possibility of more babysitter time?
There's for me to explore, I haven't yet broached the topic yet, but because he was just diagnosed with ASD level 1 without intellectual impairment this year, now I probably have inroads to maybe find ABA practitioners or respite care or things like that. Because I am an entrepreneur and I dropped my business to be at home with my son. Long story, but so I'm mainly a mom for him.
Mhm.
Um, so the sitters do get expensive, if I could find something under insurance and whatever, but I got to figure it out first.
Got it, got it. So it's not like a hard like a we can't even put
Not
this
a hard no, but I would need to just, like, schedule it in more, I guess.
great. Okay. So I have he's the only child, so there's no other kids to give him that dopamine and novelty in a
I mean,
social.
I honestly always wish there was, like, a restaurant work program because I just wanna drop him off for an hour or 2. He would fill the cups, he would do the
Yeah, yeah,
he would be the best 2-hour employee that you ever could find at 9 years old. Um,
totally.
but yeah, I'm always trying to think of, since watching your, videos, what I might be able to do that's novelty seeking, that's not necessarily the neighbors.
Yeah. So in this skill, and if you need to take a break, don't worry.
I'm texting dad.
Okay, I'll take a sip of water.
Okay. We're live on the scene.
All
Um,
good. Anyone who's watching this will totally understand.
he wants you, Thomas, I'm still on a call. It's caught up in the moment.
All good, all good. We're good at pivoting. So, the second step in this process is to really reframe an area of overwhelm or frustration as a decision point that we can actually have under our control as a parent. Okay. So your submission was a great example of like, this is really overwhelming. Like, I don't know how to make him stop. I'm embarrassed for him with the neighbors. I don't want to bug them. I don't know how to teach him these social skills that he's not using, or how do I help him access them? So, what we're going to do is reframe that as a decision point
Mhm.
and lay out all the options that are under your control. So, no options that are actually trying to make him do anything different. And this is where things get into a different paradigm. This is where we're moving from the behavioral paradigm into the PDA paradigm, okay? Because as we said, if we're trying to focus on making him do something, it doesn't work.
Right.
Okay, so option one, why don't you let me know what you're doing now? So is it, let's say 2 out of 3 times when we come home and he starts wanting to go to the neighbors, I come up with an idea to do something or I follow him, but 1 out of 3 times I just let him go and see what happens.
So that's where we're at right now. So we used to fight it a lot. It became a battle. Like, you went there 3 times. It's enough today. Do this or do, and then it would be the meltdown, and then it would be. We tried to control it. Ever since we're trying to now lower the demands, lower the expectation, and just say, listen, I've told the neighbors to be direct. I've told them, and he will take that in and he'll just move on if you say that. And then he'll be able to come back into a brain of, what else can I do mom, and then we could talk about how about we get the science experiment kit out, or how about we get the, but when he thinks he has a shot or an inroad of seeing somebody, he wants to stay there first. So sorry, I lost my trend of thought. So right now, after really reading and learning a lot more about PDA, which I did diagnose at about 4 years old, but because I'm in New York and it's not DSM, everybody would be like, well, that's great, but it's not a thing. So let's move on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, if I would have known all of these approaches and know the why, when everybody wanted to find the antecedent, and I was like, there are no antecedent. You're not going to find it because you're not, the bottle is getting fuller. You're not going to know what triggered the thing. I know it now, but nobody believed me back
Yeah.
then. Um, so anyway, at this point, we're just kind of like, let him go try it. Let him go do. But to be honest, I worry. Like,
Mhm.
even though it's right down the block and I live in a very safe neighborhood, for me to get that 1 minute of emptying the dishwasher and putting the groceries away, you could have not put on your helmet and maybe got hit by a car because you took your bike to your friends. And we're talking about block, we're literally talking about the end of the corner or around the corner to people I know very well, but it does worry me. So that's what I
Yeah.
am doing now, but
You're
it's
exhausted and worried. Yeah.
concerning.
Okay, so there's no judgment in any of these options that we're going to lay out. We're just going to think outside of the box and put everything on the table that is under your control.
Okay.
Okay. So it sounds like right now you're giving pretty full autonomy to check out if neighbors can play,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Um,
So I will say, where are you going? And he'll tell me the name of her friends. And I said, well, then when you get there, if they can play, their mom has to text me. And that's the way it works. And
okay.
sometimes he gets in. Sometimes he gets lucky.
To text if he is welcomed in to play. Okay. Now let's go through other possibilities. You could, so I just want to address, there's two main worries here, right? One is his safety, even though you live in a safe neighborhood.
Mhm.
You mentioned the helmet, all of that. The other is the like negative social feedback, or not wanting your neighbors to think your family's
Right.
weird, which
Right.
all of us have.
Don't we ever do anything with him? Like, where,
Yeah. Like, why is he
don't
not?
they enroll him in something? Why don't they bring him to the jump? Yeah, we're doing that. We already did that 12 times today.
Okay, so we could continue with
I
full
actually
autonomy.
did just think of something that could potentially work too.
Great, throw
I
it
know
out.
we're not there, but as we're brainstorming, I'm just thinking he's not yet connected because I'm nervous about that world, but lesser of the evils. Maybe creating like a social media account where he can game with other friends, or like he does have an Xbox, but right now he can only like play basketball with himself. But perhaps if he had those things where he can interact with
Mhm.
buddies online, might be a way of having him come inside, but still get that dopamine hit and see a friend, but not be outside again.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That would probably be something up here. So your constraint right now is that he doesn't have the ability to play with other kids online. And after we go through this decision point, you might explore that next decision point.
Okay.
So this decision point is in the moment
Okay.
that he's like getting home, getting
Right.
home, and he's like, "I wanna go to the neighbor's house,"
Right.
right? And it's, like, happening over and over again. So
Yeah.
let's explore that
Okay.
first through this method, and it's already working because it's making you think through your constraints differently already.
Okay.
You see how that
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could do full autonomy to check out if neighbors can play, um, but come outside and ensure helmet is on and watch him until he gets out of your line of vision,
Mhm.
and then still have this part.
Right.
That would address the first worry, but not the second. Option 2 is autonomy to check out if the neighbors can play, but one of you is coming with him. You walk behind or ride a bike behind or a car.
Yep. Which, by the way, Mom, stop. I can go by myself. Don't come with me. Don't follow me, Mom. I can do it. You let me do it yesterday. So
Yeah, so that's his
it's an
response.
option, but I'm trailing far behind on that one.
Totally.
Like a
So
stalker.
we're going to lay everything out, and then you're going to pick the 2 you want to explore.
Okay.
If some of these you're going to be like, Casey, no.
Right.
Some of these, though, it might spark ideas and or help you see it from a different angle.
Okay.
So we're just like
Yep.
totally out of the box here. It could be, in terms of setting boundaries, what that means is deciding what you're going to do, not what he's going to do, right? So you could say no, he might still go.
Right.
But you could, lock his bike in and he has to walk, and you would, text the neighbors and tell them he can't come over, right? This would be like the firmest boundary I can think of beside like restraining him.
Right. I mean, I have said that to him sometimes. I've not said it like, if you go out of this house, I will tell Miss whatever that you're not allowed in, to stop. But yeah, all of those are going to result in a meltdown. But yes, I could prohibit it or.
Yeah. And so the tweak there would be, rather than saying, if you do this, I'm going to do this, it's more, I'm just doing this for your safety and well-being, regardless.
Right.
Because that's how we distinguish between boundaries and like behavioral approaches.
Mhm.
Behavioral approaches are, I'm doing this so that it changes your behavior and you learn to do differently. Whereas boundaries are, I'm making this decision as a parent so that you are not in harm's way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. We've thought about, Dad and I, of doing like a boundary, because we did this with ice cream, because ice cream was every time we went out to dinner, or every time we were home, or the ice cream truck came, it was, so we made Saturdays only for ice cream, and now he knows Saturday. And sometimes we could switch. Okay, if you want ice cream on Friday, that Saturday's ice cream on Friday. But it's worked well. And we've thought about doing like a night of the week or something as a boundary to friends' houses. It just never works because
Yeah.
every day is different. Their lives are different. Sometimes they're out in the street playing, and then I'm like, I don't care, play, So we find that the boundaries around this, when to play or when not to play, are very hard. Like, did
Yeah,
you
you
just
can't have rules aren't going to work. Rules aren't
right?
going to work. It's going to be your decisions around boundaries. Um, okay. Autonomy to check out if neighbors can play, asking where he's going, ask mom to text if he's welcomed. Second option, autonomy to check out neighbors, but you come outside and ensure his helmet is on and you watch until he gets out of your line of vision. Ask where he's going, ask mom to text if he's welcomed into play. Option 2 or 3, autonomy to check out if neighbors can play, but you walk behind, ride a bike behind, or go in the car. Option 3 is you say no, to shut the garage, text parents, and ask them not to let him play. So again, we're focusing on what's under your control.
Right.
I'm not advocating for this, but we're putting everything on the table. Like you could
Or it could be, hire a babysitter to go around with him and watch him play or bike or.
Yeah, so that would be similar to this, but caregiver would come outside and ensure helmet is on and
The hard part about that, though, I must say, is So say you hire a sitter and he wants to go to his buddy's house. I mean, the sitter's not going inside the house or anything. So it's really more like
You're hiring for
you're
the
hiring,
availability.
yes,
Yeah.
to give him a playmate. You're basically hiring. Right. Like I also want to start that work program where just high school kids just come to my house.
Yeah, it's a good entrepreneurial idea there.
I will feed you all McDonald's.
Okay. So we have five options laid out. Are there any other options you can think of that are exclusively under your control in this situation? That, the option 5 would be physically preventing him from going. So we have 6 total options. Can you think of or see any other options that are under your control?
Not really, unless it's an option to just really completely do something different that is more novel and more exciting than playing with friends. But then, I mean, I don't want to do that, but I could just think of it as an option. Like if I were like, let's go to Adventureland, which is a roller coaster park, he might be like, okay, I'm over going to a.
Yeah, and he might not.
Right.
So autonomy to check out if neighbors can play while offering an option with even more excitement and novelty that mom or dad can accompany him in. So this would be trying to offer an incentive that's more enticing.
Right.
Yeah, and this is basically like offering one-on-one attention in place of, to try and disincentivize him from needing that
Right.
going to the. Okay. All right, we have 7 possibilities. Now, of these 7, okay, so let's pause here because right now, you and I are moving through radical acceptance. Because how are you feeling as you're looking at these options?
Tired.
Tired? What else? Are you mad?
Exhausted.
Yeah, frustrated.
Broke.
So this process we're going through is to facilitate an energetic shift of
Right.
radical acceptance. Okay. And the first big radical acceptance point is this one of moving away from like, what's the solution to make him do something? Right.
Right.
To, okay, where do I have autonomy and agency?
Mm-hmm.
And then we see, ooh, I don't know if there are any other options.
Mm.
There isn't this magic bullet that Casey has or that a guru has that's going to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to make a decision and move forward. And then I can soften it with accommodations and such, or go back and look at my constraints differently.
Right. Do you ever offer them, like, looking at these options, like, I'm just pretending if I had a board up on my house where I'm saying, "We can't go to these 3 friends' houses again, but do you want to, A, go someplace else with mom, B, do that," and just, like, cover up the ones I really don't wanna do that day, but, like, offer him these options as alternative
Yeah, so that would
deals?
be an option 7. It would be, say no to seeing neighbors. That doesn't mean he can't run out the door and try and do it, right? Like we know with PDA kids sometimes
Right.
that
Yeah.
happens. But say no to seeing neighbors and then have a menu of dopamine
Right.
and one-on-one attention options that he can pick from.
Mm.
That's a great idea. So that would be another option to consider. So I love that you came up with that. So we actually have 8 options here. So the next step in this process is to pick 2 to compare to one another so that we
Mhm.
see the impact on your nervous system, his nervous system, and dad's nervous system.
Mm. Um, I mean, option 1, I'm always fine with, really.
This one is a status quo or option?
Oh, sorry. A time essays. Yeah, I guess option 1. They're very similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Option 1. So I'll put that in the cost benefit. And then what are we comparing it to? Which one of these?
Um, Definitely not lock the bike and shut the garage. I'll get in trouble.
I mean,
I
as
I guess it
parents,
would
I'm
be.
sure people have done that before and tried that. So
Oh,
no.
yeah, that will I already know that doesn't work because restricting it does not work. I guess the last one where maybe a list of options that he can pick from,
Love it.
and I'm
Do it.
wondering if that's the same list every time, or does that list change on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I'm fine with writing 7 lists if I need to.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go through this method together. Okay. So here we're considering the whole family system. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in column 1 and we're just going to look at the impact on each person's nervous system. So I'm going to ask you to populate cost and benefit with me, either by saying no cost or benefit, low cost, medium cost, or high cost, or to the benefit. Does that?
Um,
So I'm going to walk you through it so you don't have to just rattle it off.
okay.
Okay. So option 1, we're giving him autonomy to check out if neighbors can play. But we're coming outside to make sure his helmet's on and watch him until he gets out of your line of vision on the bike, still asking where he's going and requesting that the other mom texts if he's welcomed in to play. Okay, so this option, what do you believe is the cost to your son's nervous system?
I'm gonna say low,
Okay.
because he still has to put on his helmet. I'm watching him. But at least I feel he's safe.
Yeah, so he has full autonomy to make the decision.
Mhm.
Um, but he loses a tiny bit of autonomy when you're making him do the helmet and getting him in the line of vision. But overall, it's a
Thank
low
you
cost.
for saying about the declarative book, which I've read, and now I say things like, "Oh, what thing can't we forget before you go on your bike so that you're safe with your head and everything?" And he's like, "I know, I'm gonna put on my helmet," which is so much better than put on your helmet.
Yeah, so you've already like another place where we could be adding a drop, we're taking it away. So you're doing great. So what's the benefit to your son's nervous system of this first option?
He gets to do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it.
So would you say that's a low, medium, or high benefit to his nervous
Huh.
system? High. Okay, great. Now, what about your nervous system, mom? So, option 1, it gives you a little bit of a break because he's out of the house,
Right,
but you're also worried. You're worried about his safety, which you're mitigating with this
right.
strategy, but you're also worried about like social stuff. So,
Yeah.
can you talk to me about is that low, medium, or high to your nervous system?
I'm gonna go with low right now.
Okay.
If we were doing this at maybe 11 and he had a further reach with his bike and longer distances, and I might be more, but I'm gonna go with low.
Okay, awesome. And what about benefit?
Um, Benefit to the parents,
Your nervous system of option 1.
also low. I don't see much benefit for me.
Okay. Now, what about, do you want to include dad here?
Sure. I'm gonna go with the same thing, low, and I'm gonna go maybe high to parent number 2 because he's working down there on calls and the house is quiet.
Yeah, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Very good. So now we're going to move over to option 2, and we're just going to explore without judgment option 2.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the cost to your son of his nervous system of saying no to seeing neighbors, but then offering a menu of options that are novel, that provide dopamine and your one-on-one attention that he can pick
So
from?
I'm gonna go with medium then,
Okay,
because they might be exciting, but he still has to delay the gratification of doing it right there. It's not what was originally in his head. He still has to transition in a way he might not have wanted to. So definitely higher than the first.
great. And is there a benefit? What would you say the benefit would be to his nervous system?
Um, that's an interesting one. I actually almost feel like low. I know once he gets to the thing, he'll be excited to do it. Oh wait, but that's the cost of it.
So, for example, the benefit is your one-on-one attention and autonomy within choice.
Right,
So, we're trying to understand, like, kind of two things at play for him: the cost, which is the loss of autonomy about seeing neighbors, which is a
right.
medium cost. And then, from your perspective, is there a benefit to his nervous system of option 2?
I mean, it's easy for me just to pick the medium, go with the medium, but I think it's medium to low.
Okay, great. All right, now what about you? Cost to your nervous system of option 2.
Um, it's probably high. Um, Now I'm spending more money. I have to do yet another thing after doing a lot of things. I have to hope he's gonna transition, hope he's gonna like what we picked, hope he's doesn't still wanna go to the friends when we get home, so it's high.
Yeah, a lot of executive functioning for you too, of coming up with new stuff all the time,
Right. Yeah.
which I'm sure you're doing anyways.
Yes.
So, is there a benefit to your nervous system because he's not out in the neighborhood bothering the neighbors?
Yeah, it's a high benefit too because whenever he is with me or whenever I can see, I can relax because I know how to give him that safe nervous system. I know he's safe. I know he's not around a stranger. I know that he is coming back. I know that he is leaving, so it's also high.
Okay. Now, what about dad? The
So the
cost to
cost
option 2.
thing, no on the options. We'll go with medium. Since dad is the primary breadwinner these days, he's paying for what we do.
So does that
We're going to Adventureland.
Okay, so does that impact his nervous system, though? Like, does dad get dysregulated when you spend money for
No,
whatever reason?
no, no. Okay, so maybe low. We'll go with low.
Yeah, where this is, like, exclusively through the
Nervous.
nervous system
Okay,
lens, and it
well,
can intersect with finances, but not always,
right. Okay.
right?
Um,
Okay, so benefit to dad.
he's also at a win because either way, he can focus on his job.
Yeah. Okay. Next step is I'm gonna compare the costs and benefits and each column, and then we'll look at them clearly in a comparison, okay? So here for option 1, we have a net benefit to the PDA or his nervous system. We have a wash. So for those of you watching, that just means it's low and low, so they kind of cancel each other out. It's not more one or the other.
Oh,
So
wait, are you looking column to column?
No, I'm first doing,
Option 1.
yeah, so
Okay.
I'm here, and I'm comparing first the cost to the nervous system of
Oh,
the
versus the
PDA to the
benefit. Got
benefit,
it. Okay.
and so it's high versus low, so we got a net benefit because it's more.
Got it.
And then here we have low compared to low,
Got it.
so it's a wash.
Okay.
Like, they cancel each other out kind of.
Right.
And then we're on to dad. So there's a low cost here versus a high benefit here. So we have a net benefit to dad. Okay, so we did column 1. Now we're going to do column 2, and then we'll look at them in comparison to one another. Okay, so over here, we have option 2, saying no with a menu of dopamine and one-on-one options. There is a medium cost to your son's nervous system and a low to medium benefit. So here I would say a slight net cost. Here it's high and high, so it's a wash.
Okay.
And then for dad, we see a net benefit. Okay, so now we can look with clarity at these two possibilities that are under our control and
Right.
compare what it looks like for our family system. So what are you seeing here?
To go with option number 1.
Okay. So there's two possibilities. We can either pick one of the options and experiment consistently for whatever time period we want,
Right.
or we can come back here to the constraints and see if there's anything we can shift. So where is your intuition guiding you? Picking one or back to the constraints?
Um, I'm almost am I allowed to say both? Like, I'm
Yeah.
picking the option 1 and looking at how frequently, like, really how frequently it occurs, and if it's too frequently, then maybe, like, constraint 5 with the babysitters or whatever, like, something like that has to come into play to
Mhm.
more provide him that other person to be around that is like the play that he's seeking, um, at scheduled times.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So you've made a decision. Now, where we can sort of operationalize this is decide the steps. So I always encourage parents to experiment consistently and, like you said, collect data or observe.
Mhm.
And you went to that intuitively. So do you want to maybe give yourself 2 or 3 weeks and then reassess the constraint of the caregivers?
Yeah.
Okay. Which sounds better, 2 or 3?
Um, 2 sounds good at this moment in time. It's a pretty neutral, got all the activities the way they should be and all that, so I think that's fine.
How much time for a caregiver you would need? Return to constraint of hiring caregiver. Okay, the other place you have some agency is communicating with the neighbors ahead of time so that if you're doing this one,
Mhm.
then here we're addressing the first worry about his physical safety. The second part of your worry was whether the neighbor's gonna think. So maybe moving towards a more formal communication of, "Hey, my son just got diagnosed with ASD.
Mhm.
He really loves playing with the neighbors, but he requires direct communication.
Mhm.
So here are some things you could say, like, to make it easier for the
Right.
neighbors."
Yeah.
And then we have sort of your next right step. And here, what I hope going through the method will give you is also releasing the idea or energy that, like, you should be able to figure out some strategy that would make this not be happening.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think with that communication, I really do need the formal communication now because they need to know in a normal situation, um, maybe in a couple of hours or maybe later tonight, they do not realize that he literally is coming home and getting stuck to
Mhm.
the exclusion of anything else that could be fun with the family or with another play date or whatever, getting stuck in that moment, and we can't move him out of it. Um, Even if I gave him that option board of, "Hey, do you wanna paint with mom?" or, "Hey, do you wanna go to the library?" He's so stuck in there, so without the formal communication to them that it's not an option to say maybe later, just say no. Just say no, and then you can text me later if maybe later becomes a t maybe now.
Tell him directly, "No, we can't play for X amount of time." For example, until next Tuesday, or we will be home at 8 p.m. and you can stop
But
by.
not even that, not really even that option,
Okay.
because we will be home at 8 p.m. then puts him into, he's not considering anything else that the family, so I don't know what they're ever gonna say.
So maybe we could say,
Maybe
no,
we have,
we can't play today,
right,
period.
period. We can't play today. That's it. Because if they say 8 p.m. and then we know he has karate at 6 p.m., he might not be able to go back there at 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. If you have a kid who's in middle school or high school, 8 p.m. is not an issue. My son's asleep by 8 p.m. So,
Yeah,
if they get creative other than no, it becomes a problem for him.
yeah. Yeah, so this might be a good conversation to have, if you can, over the phone,
Yeah,
just so it doesn't come across as you trying to tell them what to do.
I know.
Just sharing, like, "Hey, Sally, like, your flowers look awesome."
Really like that Halloween ghost you got going
"I
on.
like your Halloween ghost, and my son just got diagnosed with autism,
Right. So
and we're figuring things out." So, one of the things I've noticed is that my son gets into panic attacks when he is unsure if another kid is gonna be home later or if they maybe can play. So, we've noticed that really direct communication without worrying about diplomacy is actually the best thing for him.
yes.
So
Yeah.
you can say, "No, we can't play today, period."
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that feel for, like, your plan?
Yeah. No, it has to be done.
Yeah, these are uncomfortable conversations, but they're also connections that we're making with
Right.
our neighbors.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me. Like, I've not really told anybody about his diagnosis because I'm always of the, it's hard. I'm always like, that's his story. That's hit like when he's 18 or but there's a very real like safeguarding and people understanding why behavior might seem a little bit different than what you're used to. So it's hard for me, like
Yeah,
when because people come with preconceived notions too, and I'm going to be blunt, don't want to also hurt his chances of playing with friends that he might not even know yet, but because you live on my block, it's only a matter of time till he
yeah.
finds you or your children.
Well, you should always follow what feels right to you, but I also wanna give you permission to frame it as anxiety, as neurodivergence,
Mhm.
as whatever feels aligned, right? And maybe this is controversial, but it is his story, but it's also your story.
Right,
This is the intersection of 2 stories because you're the parent and he is under your care.
right. Yeah.
So, you don't have to share any more than feels comfortable, but what I see over and over again in my own life and with the families we work with is that when people understand, they are much less judgmental.
Mm, yeah.
So
Well, and that's why I thank you for letting me understand
sure, I mean,
what
we did
was
great.
happening.
We
Like, I
went through a
had no
lot.
idea what was happening, and it all completely makes sense now. None of it made sense before.
Yeah,
You need? What do you want? Why are you upset? What is it? I mean, when he was 5 years old, we would be getting ready to go to his cousin's soccer game and then the alligator roll. And I want to go, I don't want to go, the yes, no game, the this, that, and what,
yeah,
and it had nothing to do with the soccer game, you know?
totally.
And I wish, that's my hope for every practitioner, school personnel or whatever, when a person does say, "What about this PDA profile thing?" That you say could be, you should look into that because there's some really insightful information out there about how to help your child. Not, it's not recognized by the DSM-5, so we're not going to do anything different than we would do if it was just an ASD diagnosis. Like, okay, thanks. Thanks for those 5 years of
Help.
complete waste that could have been really helpful to my child. You know?
Yeah, and we as moms, we have a lot of self-blame.
Mm.
So, well, thank you for being vulnerable. I know this is gonna help so many other families, and it was so nice to meet you.
You too, as well. Thank you. I will
Yeah,
take this all to dad now.
awesome, awesome. Well,
All
have a
right.
good rest of your day. It was
All
great
right.
to
Let me
see
go
you.
run outside with Hershey Kisses and iPhones.
Love it.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. It was a bit of a long one, but hopefully, you guys saw how we work through the cost benefit methodology with families to facilitate radical acceptance of our unique and beautiful PDA children and teens. All right, everyone, have a good weekend. Bye.